So the Dutch police lied to Nicki. And let's also talk about Nicki's former employees, the disgruntled employees that may have worked with the authorities in Amsterdam at the airport to arrest Nicki Minaj. There is a lot going on in this. Nicki Minaj arrested in Amsterdam and her being delayed for her next concert in Manchester. Guess what? Nicki gets fined for that. Are the Dutch police gonna pay her fine? And why did you tell Nicki she was arrested? Nicki wasn't arrested. Nicki wasn't arrested. So let's start from the beginning. Now, all of us heard the news that Nicki Minaj was arrested in Amsterdam. In fact, it started with Nicki Minaj tweeting. You know how Nicki Minaj, she communicates with her fans. She knows she has a very strong fan base. And you know what? That is the best thing Nicki did for herself. The fact that this went viral as quickly as it did, it forced the Dutch police to change their plan. Nicki predicted her own arrest. Do you guys know that? Why? She's in tune with what is happening. She knows she got some people fired who have connections. The people Nicki Minaj fired, these are people who hire her private planes. They set up her international travel. So these people definitely have some connections, right? But do they have that sway in the Dutch authorities, so much so that they go to one of the biggest stars in the world and delay her tour because some disgruntled employees told them Nicki fired me, so let's get her? We're gonna talk about that. Anyway, I have my phone. I put down some notes. I was out and about today. Me and my mom, we went to the farmer's market. And while we were out there, I started hearing, oh, Nicki has been arrested. Nicki has been arrested. Went to Twitter, saw the videos. I know you guys have seen the videos. If you haven't, go to Twitter and see the videos from Nicki herself. Nicki did the best thing, and I hope celebrities learn from that. Let the world know what they're doing to you, especially if you're black. Listen, this color, you know, let's start with the things Nicki Minaj said on Twitter and some of the things I was disappointed in when it comes to Nicki herself, right? I was not happy that Nicki was being arrested. I like Nicki. I'm not a Bob. What do you call them? Bobs. I'm not one of those, but I definitely like some of Nicki's music. But if you come to this channel, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. It's late in the day. I'm recording this video very late in the day, actually. Maybe early morning Sunday. Okay, so bear with me. So Nicki is sending out tweets telling her fans, guys, look what is happening. I know what is about to happen to me. She predicted her own arrest. Then the next thing, Nicki is on video, and I remember we see her pilot, I believe, telling her, look here, we have to offload. Nicki is in the Netherlands. She's in Amsterdam. She's at the airport preparing to leave to her next destination for her next concert, which is England, Manchester. The pilot comes to Nicki and says, look, I'm sorry, I've been informed that the police have told me we have to offload because they want to check some more bags. And Nicki's like, wait, what are you talking about? I thought they already checked our bags. I want to pay attention to some of the things people looked over, right? From Nicki's own mouth. Indeed, there is weed in Nicki's private plane. But we don't know who this weed belongs to initially. She talks about these being pre-rolls. Probably, I don't know what you do with weed, like they put it and they roll it like a cigarette or whatever. Nicki says they belong to her security. She also mentioned that they checked her bag There were other bags placed on her plane she was not aware of. So what Nicki was trying to say, those bags on the plane, if you find anything in those bags, I don't know about them. You didn't consult with me, did you? You didn't even get permission from me for some of the things you went through. The problem that I saw with most of the Babs, they were trying to apply American laws to the Amsterdam. American laws are not Dutch laws. If you ever travel internationally, do yourself a favor and understand that once you step out of the United States, American laws do not apply. America is a country, it's not the world. I'm sure you just watched the news where an American traveled with ammunition to, is it Turks and Caicos, and got arrested? Just because it's okay in America doesn't mean it's okay elsewhere. Just because in America we may have certain freedoms doesn't mean those freedoms apply elsewhere. People always get in trouble for thinking that. They think American culture is everybody's culture. Whenever you're going to travel, go to the State Department and look at, they give you warnings. Choose the country you're traveling to. Look at the country's restrictions. Look at the country's laws, especially being an American. There are countries that are friendly to Americans, and there are countries that are not friendly to Americans. Me and my husband, whenever we travel, we make sure we go to the country we are traveling to. We go to their website. We go to the embassy's website. We see what is required of Americans, right? I'm an American citizen. I travel on an American passport. So I have to make sure I know what is required of an American citizen when I go to that country. Not only do I do that, I go to the American embassy's website in that country. Nicki has been a superstar for more than 20 years. She has traveled the world. She should know better. One thing I heard in one of the videos from Nicki, when they were asking Nicki to get into the police van, and Nicki was like, I'm not going in there. The police were nice. Well, let me say this. Nice compared to American police. Let's just be honest. Okay, because American policemen, the moment they told Nicki get in there and Nicki said I'm not going in there, Nicki would have been slammed on the ground. She wouldn't, before she even blinked, she would have found her skull cracked on the pavement. Okay, that's the American police for you. Am I lying? Am I lying? Okay, so when they tell Nicki to get in the van, she says I'm not going in there, and they say you have to go in there. She says, why? She says, I need a lawyer. They said, we're going to get you a lawyer. So one of the police officers tells Nicki, you are under arrest. Nicki says, oh, I'm under arrest for what? I would share the videos with you when she went live, but I won't because YouTube gave me a strong warning. So I'm like, you don't have to tell me twice. I'm not doing it. So guys, that's just gonna be me talking, okay? Eventually you see Nicki decides, you know, just in my own best interest, let me walk in there. Now, when you read the Dutch laws, Nicki was not under arrest. Now, I'm not saying she wasn't under arrest because there were no handcuffs. You can be under arrest and not handcuffed. And I'm not applying American laws to the Dutch laws, right? So Nicki Minaj was actually detained. There's a difference. That's why there were no charges pressed against Nicki. So let me see what I wrote down. Based on available information, it seems more likely she was detained. And I say more likely because I may have missed or lost in translation, right? CNN said Nicki was detained. And there were 2 more media outlets that said Nicki was detained. Otherwise, everybody else kept on saying Nicki was arrested. Nicki was not arrested if you go by the Dutch law. She was detained. So, under the Dutch law, detention allows police to hold someone for questioning for a limited time, usually up to 6 hours. They are detaining you because they suspect a crime has been committed, but they're not sure. So they're just gonna hold you, and they can hold you up to 6 hours. So this is exactly what they did with Nicki. They found pre-rolls with Nicki, right? They want to do further investigation to see if she should be under arrest. Arrest, on the other hand, usually, and underline, highlight, usually. Arrest usually involves formal charges being pressed and can lead to further custody. From the last I watched and I heard, there were no charges pressed against Nicki. Nicki was never under arrest. That police officer misspoke. I guess he was a bub. He was shaken. He was a bub, but also trying to do his job. Reports indicate she was released with a fine, which wouldn't happen in a stereotypical arrest under the Dutch law. Okay, so Nicki also mentioned she has disgruntled employees. She fired some people who were scheming, stealing money from her. She mentioned about $40,000 to $50,000. Now, why did she mention these people? These people were involved with hiring private planes for Nicki. She found out that every time they booked a private plane for her, they were adding additional $50,000, and then they were pocketing that money. What Nicki was implying is, don't forget that these people have the right connections when it comes to travel and authorities, because this was their job. That's what they did for me. So of course they're going to have the right connections, including the police. But let's look at this. What is the likelihood that those people she fired, the people she talked about, really were involved in what happened to Nicki? For me, I don't think so. Nicki always, a lot of people are after Nicki, but sometimes Nicki is paranoid. That's how it comes across. She's always thinking somebody's out to get her. The music industry is dirty, right? Maybe she's seen enough. It's the natural default for her to think somebody's trying to get me. If anybody was trying to get her, it's the Dutch police and the Dutch police alone, and nothing to do with any female rappers, nothing to do with Cardi B praying with her witchcraft, and no, nothing to do with Megan Thee Stallion. I don't believe that stuff. Then Nicki talked about a 4-hour delay. She said they were trying to make her late for her next destination. And then I was like, why did she say 4 hours? Maybe that triggers an automatic refund, maybe? Because why that number 4? Nicki Minaj implied the police wanted her to be 4 hours late for her Manchester concert. A 4-hour delay might automatically trigger a refund. So that way she's losing money. She still has to pay for the venue. You are 4 hours late. They're gonna give the people who paid for your tickets their money back, but you're still responsible for everything that has to do with the venue. If you hired DJs, if you hired security, you have to pay everything. That's a loss. The Dutch police lied to Nicki Minaj. One of the police officers mentioned her show, and she was kind of surprised. She's like, what are you talking about? And she was kind of like, this is suspicious. They told Nicki, we're going to make sure you make it on time for your next show, which never happened, which fell in line with Nicki's suspicions that they were trying to make her late. Now, she left Amsterdam, but she never made it to her show. They had to reschedule because they held her much longer. They promised she'd make it to her show on time. Think about this. When you buy tickets for your concert, you make sure you are free at that specific date and time. You can travel to the location. Nicki Minaj's concert has been rescheduled. They told the fans, if you can't make it to the rescheduled concert, we're going to refund you. We're going to give you your money back. Nicki is going to lose some money on this concert. Everyone who bought the ticket is not going to attend because they had set a time aside for yesterday. Nicki is gonna lose a lot of money, and that Dutch police lied to Nicki that they were going to make sure she makes it to her next concert on time, and she didn't. So the other thing Nicki said that showed me Nicki did not take time to research the countries she's going to. She believes the things she reads online, such as weed is legal in Amsterdam. That is a misconception. Please, if you ever travel to Amsterdam, be careful and don't believe that. Weed is decriminalized in Amsterdam. It is not legal. There's a difference. Weed is tolerated in Amsterdam. It is not legal. So let me make sure I read what I wrote. The misconception is weed is entirely legal in Amsterdam. Wrong. It is not, okay? Amsterdam tolerates possession of a small amount of weed, up to 5 grams, for personal use in designated coffee shops. Listen carefully. Now, when you go to Amsterdam, or if you've been to Amsterdam, you've probably seen people smoking in coffee shops, eating things with weed in them, maybe even smoking outside coffee shops. Everybody is free to do it in the streets, and you assume, oh, it's legal. You've probably seen police looking at people smoking weed and buying weed, and you thought, oh, it's legal. It's decriminalized. Now, that doesn't mean they can't arrest you. Now, when it comes to transportation of weed, you can't do that. She was trying to leave the country, and they found these pre-rolls. And because they found pre-rolls, they were right to believe they might be more. So they don't want you to export weed from the Netherlands to another country. In Nicki's case, she was going to England. They don't want you to do that. Exporting weed from Netherlands is illegal. First of all, you're not supposed to travel, not even with 1 gram. Nicki was careless. She acknowledged they had pre-rolls, but she doesn't understand that you cannot export drugs out of the country. It doesn't matter how small the amount is. That is on Nicki. That is on Nicki, but I'm so happy that she was released.